Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to INX Prime. We are on your screens Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 and 8. It is a motivational Monday. So in the spirit of motivation, we are joined by Kgaogelo, who is a distinguished motivational speaker, accomplished program director, as well as a published author from the rural areas of Limpopo. She is known for her engaging and humorous speaking style. Kgaogelo has inspired countless individuals, particularly women and youth, with her powerful motto, know who you are and know what you represent. Today she will be sharing with us her journey, her insights, and the messages that she passionately conveys to her audiences. Good evening, Kgaogelo. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live.
Oh, thank you. It's really nice to be here.
It's such a privilege for us to be able to have this conversation with you this evening. I mean, your journey is incredibly inspiring, and I think it's the best way to get us kicked off and motivated on, a gloomy Monday evening. But to start off our conversation, can you tell us a bit more, about your upbringing in the rural parts of Limpopo and your journey towards becoming, this motivational speaker, author, program director? Tell us a bit more about your journey.
First of all, my name is Kgaogelo Thobejane, and then, yes, I grew up in the rural areas of Limpopo. I must say that it wasn't really an expected situation, if I may say. It was quite tough, especially during those days, We didn't have electricity. It was really, really rural. We didn't have electricity. We were not exposed to quite a lot of things. And then going to schools, especially in high schools, we would walk for over 5 kilometers, have to also go through the river, jump through the river to get to the high school. So I must say it was really tough. So on becoming an author, published author, if I may say, I like hearing myself say it. It was just... It happened. I remember in primary school, we were given a composition test, and then one of my teachers said to me that, no, you really need to look into writing. Yeah. So then with regard to motivational speaking, that I must say, it's not something that I had planned, that I was going to go through that career path. It was spotted in me by the people that I knew. And then, the more people say it, then I started thinking, wow, maybe I really need to look into this, only to find out I'm actually quite good at it.
That's an incredible journey. Thank you for sharing, your story with us. I mean, sometimes it happens that way. We aren't always able to see potential in ourselves.
Of course,
but that's why it's so important, I guess, to surround yourself with people who see that potential in you. And then here you are now, a published author, and I like that you like hearing me say that. It's such a huge accomplishment. I mean, writing a book is not something that is easy. I mean, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, you're being vulnerable, and you're sharing your story with the world. So it's such a great accomplishment, and I really commend you on that.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you've had an amazing journey. I mean, transitioning, to being a writer as well as a motivational speaker. And something that I do know about you is that your audiences really resonate with you. Yeah. They're really able to relate to you. And your motivational talks are not just on one particular topic. You cover, a wide variety of topics. What topics do you find resonate the most with audiences in general?
Like gender-based violence and suicide, depression. Those are the topics that many people don't really find them quite easy to just bring them in the open. So I try to engage, just saying, using a simple example first, and then afterwards, then I know that I've gained their attention. And then that's when then we're gonna, just talk about it, because these things are actually happening quite a lot. For example, suicide. It's actually something that is looming dark, very, very darkly in the society. But so far, we don't have open places where people can just go and talk about them. And it's how can I say it? It's actually sensitive issues that we tend to just turn a blind eye until it happens. Then that's when we say, oh, but then we did see the signs. We just never paid that much attention to it. So I try to engage my audiences with such topics, gender-based violence, where I actually stay, there's quite a lot of women that are actually crying about that. And thankfully right now, because I am there, a lot of people do come to me and say, so what can I do? Where should I go? What do you think can be the solution? So yes, it's very sensitive issues, I must say. It's very sensitive issues.
I actually really love that you use your platform and your motivational talks to talk about these sensitive issues. Because I find that people tend to steer away from the difficult conversations. But the difficult conversations are exactly the conversations that need to be had. We need to give people, access to the kind of information and resources and help that they need, depending on the situation they're in, whether they're feeling suicidal or struggling from depression, or like you said, you never know whose life you might be touching, who might be experiencing domestic violence, or may have a family or family member or friend who is experiencing that.
And then mostly young kids. These days, it's even worse, because now, lately, I've just been interacting with a lot of young kids that I'm working with. But then, I have had about 3 of them that came to me and said, and they're very young. That's the scariest thing, that, as young as they are, they would actually think about committing suicide. So it's a scary world out there. And these topics, we don't even talk about them with our children at home. And we really should, because you might find that a child is being bullied at school. And, the one thing is that we right now, you and I's generation, we might be able to handle certain pressures, but then the young kids, they find it very difficult to handle even the simplest things. Like maybe then, let's say they're being bullied and it's not that much of a deep bullying, but then you find that the child now starts getting reserved, and then they're no longer, they're no longer open anymore. And we as parents, sometimes we do fail to recognize those pointers, But then I find that I must say that I'm really grateful, because there's these kids that came to me. The youngest was 12 years old, and they had it from my book. And then she came to me and she said, I'm really tired. And I said, what do you mean? She said, no, I'm tired. I had you wrote a book, but then I'm tired. I feel like I can just kill myself. And I said, you see, right there, honey, that we need to talk about. We need to sit down, you and I, and actually attend to what makes you think like that, because it's not a healthy thinking about that, And then we started talking, and lately she's becoming more open. She was able to talk to her parents about it. So it's something that now it's no longer taboo anymore unto her. So we are able to interact about it quite openly, actually. So yes.
Now, that's an amazing success story, and I really commend you for the efforts that you're making to make a difference in young people's lives. I think communication for young people is such an issue, and they struggle to communicate what they're experiencing and what they go through. And I think social media has a little bit to do with that, because we're so disconnected from each other and from people. Now, the seriousness of the topics that you do cover, you are also known for your humor as well, and you have a tendency to balance, the humor from the seriousness of the conversations. Can you tell us a bit more about your approach, and why is it, that you have a tendency? Do you find that it maybe resonates with people better? It's a bit easier for them to have these conversations when you balance it with a bit of humor?
What can I say? I like to just go around through my audience before, we start, and then just greet them, make them feel more comfortable, chat a bit. If it's the first time that I meet you, and then I just commend you on something, you look very beautiful. What do you think about the event and all that? And then you're able to just talk more openly, even when I'm standing there. If I say something, then you're more engaged with what I'm talking about. So they say I have a lot of energy. I've had quite a lot of people saying, you have such an attractive energy. It's real good. So yeah, I don't know. It just comes naturally. It's not something that I actually do prepare that, okay, today I'm going to say this, but it just comes naturally, I must say.
I can definitely tell. I mean, you give off such a warm and vibrant energy, and I think that's also why, your audiences are able to relate to you so much, is that they're able to feel connected and able to feel safe to listen to you and to engage with you as well. Now, public speaking can be daunting for a lot
Tell
of
me about
people,
it.
and it can be something that's really, really scary to do. And for a lot of people, it's their biggest fear.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of people who are watching us right now who really want to know, what are some of the techniques that you use to prepare for your talks, or what are some of the techniques that they can maybe implement into their lives to help them maybe overcome that fear, or even if someone is in that space already, in the public speaking space, what are some techniques that they can use to actually enhance their abilities and their abilities to communicate with their audiences?
This is what had worked for me in the beginning. I didn't just start by, when they told me, and then I jumped into it, and then already then I was top notch. No. I had to practice a lot in front of a mirror. The mirror works. And then from there, then I started using also videos, and then I started recording myself, hearing myself as I speak. And then I chose the simplest topics and made them short, but then I found that more practice and also reading books, the TED Talks books, they helped quite a lot. So I found that, the more you practice, and okay, this is how I look when I'm like this, but then if I face them like that, and then, you just start talking, especially in the mirror. The mirror never lies. It never lies. And, and then you share those videos that you're making with the people that are close to you, and you ask them to be very honest with you. So what do you think? Please help me. This is what I want to do. Help me. So then, and also watching other public speakers as well. There's a lot of things that you can actually pick up from there as they speak. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's some incredible advice for our current viewers who are, maybe already in the public speaking space or still getting there.
Yes.
Or, at some point in our lives, we're all going to have to talk in front of people. Even in the corporate space, you're going to have to present to people. So these are skills, that you've shared with us, and techniques that everyone can implement to better their communication skills for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you are also an author, and it's such a beautiful thing to say, and it's such a huge accomplishment. Please tell us a bit more about your book and your journey to writing your book.
My book, my lovely book. It's titled Crossing the Threshold Onto the Threshing Floor. It talks about afflictions, it talks about chastisements, depression, it talks about suicide, it talks about all the problems that actually lead to someone trying to kill themselves, or actually even because many have already even passed, they've already killed themselves. But then it talks about what can you do if you find yourself in that space where you feel like, what, this is it. I cannot take this anymore. When it came to me, I wrote it from my personal experience. When it came to me, one day I went to work, and then I was called. The house has fallen on the children. Exactly. So I got home, I was homeless. When I left work, I had a home. I came back, not even 2 hours later, I was homeless. My house was a wreck. It was due to natural causes, of course. I was totally broke. My life was not in a good space. I had just been separated. It was just, everything was just a mess, and I was trying to concentrate and put my life on together, but then that happened. And I thought to myself, no, I can't. But then something happened through me as well. My book is very biblical, so I'm a Christian. And something happened right there. The scripture came. I am doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? And I thought to myself, where is that new thing? I'm sitting in my car, I'm looking at my house, it's all a wreck. My son has stitches all over his head, and my daughter, we couldn't even find anywhere. People had to lift up rubbles for them to be able to get her out. So it was just so devastating. But right there, I had to listen very carefully to that inner voice. And that's when the scripture came. I am doing a new thing. And during that moment, I thought, no, I'm not going to I'm not going to do this. I don't care how far I have planned. I am not going to do this. I am much bigger than this situation, and I had to rise up above it. And I did. And today I am sitting here instead of many people actually reading about me on the newspaper saying, no, this woman has done 1, 2, 3, 4. So I must say, I'm very, very, very proud of myself. And, it happens. Life can throw you on the threshing floor. It throws each one of us on the threshing floor. But it doesn't mean that suicide is the solution. In fact, I took that energy and then I channeled it into something very positive. And I said, okay, I know that I don't have much. I don't have anything in my account. I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight, or where will my kids sleep tonight. I don't know what will our next meal be. But I want to just be able to stand there and say, let me also do a new thing with this word that I just received. And it was then that it hit me. And today I am sitting here in an interview.
And we are so privileged to have you for this very interview.
Thank you.
I mean, it's amazing, everything that you have achieved and, the journey that you have been on. I mean, it's amazing what faith can do to you, or what it can do for you in a time of absolute crisis. Like you said, the average person in that moment would absolutely crumble under the circumstances, but it's that faith that gets you through. And, sometimes you might think about how your life is crumbling, you don't have anything, but God will always provide. You allow God to do that, and He will always provide. But we thank you so much for joining us this evening. But before I do let you go, please do share with us, where can we get a copy of your book?
Okay. Right now, I'm the one that is, so I will send it, I will courier it. And then as long as you call or you WhatsApp 078-1102-122, or then you get me on my inbox through my Facebook, Kgaogelo Mande Thobejane, and then yes, you will definitely get it.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
It's a great pleasure.
And thank you for sharing, your journey, being vulnerable with us, and, sharing so much from your story that we can actually learn from you as well. So really commend you on your efforts, and thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you kindly.
Viewers at home, do engage with us on our social media platforms. I mean, today is a Motivation Monday, and I'm feeling this interview feeling absolutely motivated and inspired. But please do reach out to her on her social media platforms, on WhatsApp, to get a copy of her incredible book. And if you are a speaker or a want-to-be public speaker, you can absolutely take, some of the incredible techniques and advice that she has shared this evening. But on that note, viewers, it is time for us to take an ad break, and we'll come right back.